All right, this is the big dog here of the '80s, man. Robotech. This was the best show that was ever on television. I'll say straight up. It came out in the mid '80s when I was approaching adolescence, and Voltron had been on the year before, but Robotech, when this came out, it was like nothing that had been on television before. Even Star Blazers. This Voltron was like coming out of the traditional Japanese giant robot. You'd form it out of vehicles. It'd have a sword. It had a name, right? You had a crew. You had a lot of drama amongst the people, but it was like fighting giant monsters. Okay? The real mecha stuff were war stories. Okay, sometimes humans fighting other humans. Okay, the first real mecha show being Gundam, which I'll get into, but Robotech still dealt with aliens. Now, what are all these wars? Okay, this is everybody knows this already. I don't even have to mention it, but Robotech was adaptation of three separate Japanese shows that were owned by Tatsunoko, right? That I had mentioned them in Gatchaman, Battle of the Planets. Okay, the horseshoe thing. The company had they were licensed to these, although well, we'll get into that later. Um, and Carl Masick, who all the Macross fans hate for putting the series together and adapting them. I think what he did was brilliant. Okay, rest in peace. I'll still say it to this day, he's brilliant. Okay, now I'm gonna get all the Macross fans jumping on the comments, but whatever. The idea of doing that and then making this a multi generational story adds to the epicness of it and adds to the uh, it's like you're watching. I mean, forget Star Wars, man. You're watching a real saga of so many different people, generations dealing with just Earth getting invaded by invasion after invasion of the planet, a devastated planet. Okay? A lot of the themes in this too: sacrifice. A lot of characters die. Humanity is literally the underdog. They are almost no match for the aliens they fight in terms of head to head, but they don't ever give up. Okay, and also the concept that a lot of humans in each series, some of the heroes' worst enemies were not the aliens they were fighting, but the humans that would sell them out. Okay, they would order them to suicidal missions or abandon them, to have to be a decoy to draw the aliens away, or straight up traitors selling out soldiers and resistance fighters to the aliens that had occupied the very heady stuff. A lot of dramatic content in it, and awesome mechas. Robots, mass-produced robots that were just weapons. Okay, very utilitarian. And I would just say lots of female characters, and you had a lot of fighting females. Okay, you had alien races where the women were warriors, as well as the males. But you also had with the Earth, the human females. A lot of them had to fight because you didn't have a lot of humans left after the genocides of these wars, the toll it took on humanity. Okay, very very heavy stuff. Okay. That's why Robotech, and also after Robotech, so many people got into this that they immediately sought out a lot of other things, and a lot of you started getting into the bootlegs and everything, and trying to find more anime, more Japanese cartoons that were similar to this, and there was a lot in that period. That was basically my adolescence in the '80s, was discovering this stuff. So I always give a lot of respect to Robotech. So I'm gonna see how this goes here and what I can get away with. Show apparently the copyright kings are on the prowl here. But let's go into this. And anyone who knows, who remembers Robotech when it was on television, man, you didn't want to miss an episode of this. And you would think about the show after it was gone. At least I would. It was definitely not mindless fun. It was a lot of like interesting stuff to think about. And of course, the irony was that as devastating as the future of Robotech was, I almost wish this was our future rather than the actual future 40 years later. I've mentioned it before. When I was a kid, I was like, wow, we'll be in space probably when I'm in my 30s, and we'll have bases, and we'll have. Don't laugh. We'll have like, there'll be a lot of women doing cool stuff. Instead, I should have realized that Dawn of the Dead was going to be more the future than what this was. But let's not be the bitter Gen Xer dissident here. Let's go into what started it all, the Macross saga. Oh, this is going to be fun.